Hi, I'm Pat. I've written this book called Corky's 5-Minute Fairy Tales. Here's a few of my friends that I've written about. The pictures in the book are from this fairy tale artwork. It was drawn by Corky Kennedy. The book has 86 stories and it's available on Amazon.com or at fairytalemural.com. We're going to be reading all 86 stories, so if you'd like to hear all the stories, click on subscribe down at the bottom. If you click the little bell next to it, you'll be notified each time we have a new story ready for you. If you'd like to tell me which fairy tale you like the best, send it in the comments. Here's today's story.
The Brave Little Tailor, page 77. There was once a young man named Michael who was a tailor. A tailor is someone that sews clothes. One day while sitting at his table eating bread and jelly, some flies were flying around trying to land on his jelly. So he picked up a towel and he killed the flies. When he raised the towel, he counted 7 dead flies. 7. My, this was really something. Michael grabbed up a piece of leather and immediately went to work, making himself a leather badge. He inscribed 7 with one blow. Okay, on the badge. The little tailor wore his badge everywhere. His neighbors thought he had killed 7 men with one blow, and Michael did not tell them any different. When the king heard of this, he sent for the tailor. The king thought how powerful this army would be to have such a strong and brave man in it. Before leaving for the palace, the tailor looked through the kitchen for something to eat. He found a piece of cheese, put it in his pocket, and headed towards the palace. After walking only a little ways, he came upon a small bird. The bird did not fly away, so Michael put the bird in his pocket and continued on. In a little bit, he came upon a giant who seemed friendly. The giant, though friendly, loved games. Seeing the belt, the giant challenged the tailor. If you can kill 7 men with one blow, let's see who's the strongest. Michael did not want to seem afraid, so the contest began. The giant picked up a rock and squeezed it until water ran out of it. "Let me see you do that," said the giant. So the tailor picked up a small rock and sneaked a piece of cheese into his hand. He then squeezed his hand into a tight fist, and the milk ran out of the cheese. The giant picked up another rock and threw it as hard as he could. Michael pretended to pick up a rock, but he put the bird in his hand. "Your rock went very far," Michael said, "but when I throw a rock, it never falls to the ground." The tailor said. Then he threw the bird as far as he could. The bird just kept right on flying. the giant being beaten twice. Then the giant pulled up a tree. I'll carry the trunk and you carry the branches. We'll see who holds out the longest carrying this heavy load. The giant picked up the trunk and Michael hopped up into the branches. The giant could not see him in the branches. So busy he was carrying the whole tree. At last the giant gasped, I cannot hold up my end any longer. Let's put it down. The tailor hopped quickly out of the tree and pretended to be a little out of breath. I could have gone on for miles, he said. At last the tailor arrived at the king's palace. Okay, he finally got there. When the king asked the tailor to prove his strength, Michael demanded some kind of payment. I will give you my daughter in marriage and half the kingdom if you can kill the 2 mean giants who live in the woods. Oh, that was an easy enough task, said the brave little tailor. When Michael saw the giants in the woods, they were sleeping under a tree. That's what giants do, they sleep a lot. Okay. He picked up some rocks and climbed into the tree. Then he dropped a rock on one of the giant's forehead. Pew, plop. The giant awoke and accused the other of hitting him. Oh, you were dreaming, the other giant said. Go back to sleep. When they both were asleep again, the tailor dropped another rock on the same giant as before. This time I was not dreaming, said the giant. You hit me again. The innocent giant again denied doing anything. After the tailor dropped the third rock, the giant jumped up and grabbed the innocent giant and started wrestling around, yelling that no one ever hit him and got away with it. They picked up huge rocks and clubs and fought and fought and fought until they knocked each other dead. That's bad. Then Michael went back to the king and told him he had killed them easily. The king sent his servants to the woods to prove out the story, and they found 2 dead giants. The king was not willing to give up his daughter and half the kingdom so easily. Before I give you anything, you must prove yourself once again. Go back into the woods and capture a unicorn that is terrifying my people, demanded the king. Oh, easily, said Michael. The brave little tailor went back into the woods. He walked a long time before he came upon the unicorn. Seeing the tailor, the unicorn ran with his horns pointed straight at him. Michael stood against a tree and remained there motionless until the unicorn was nearly upon him. And then he jumped out of the way. The unicorn was running so fast that he could not stop and ran his horn right into the tree, and he was stuck. The tailor cut off the piece of tree where the unicorn was stuck and led him back to the king. Wow. But the king was not ready to give up his treasures. Please, just one more thing. Go to the woods one more time and capture the wild boar that is eating the plants from our garden, demanded the king. Such a small task. The brave little tailor set off. He walked a long time before finding the boar. He had such a good plan. He ran to an empty house, standing nearby, ran through the small front door, and then jumped out the side window. As he thought, the boar followed him at a dead run. Tried to run through the door behind the tailor, but the door was not wide enough, and the boar got stuck in it. Michael threw a rope around the boar's neck and proudly led him back to the king. Wow. Now the king was no longer put him off. The king granted Michael half the kingdom, and the brave little tailor and the king's daughter were married and lived happily ever after. The end.
I hope you liked today's story. If you'd like to get a copy of the book, you can get it on Amazon. If you'd like to get a small copy of this print, go to fairytalemural.com. Thank you.